Welcome back to another episode of the Goblin Ringleader podcast. I am your host, Jack, with some horrible hair today. Now, we're going to be watching another game at the LGS, the BoarsHatGaming. Check out the MTG Chicago, Moxfield, Discord, Tales from the Tap, and BoarsHatGaming. We're against Yawgmoth today. I led with an Aether Vial, my opponent led with a Halfling, and I turned 2'd a Lord. Lord is really good in this matchup because when they kill your board, you get to draw some cards. But if they are able to kill your board, the game is over anyways. This is a really hard matchup. We for the 10K, I ended up playing Curse Totems in my sideboard because my logic is I have Lords and they don't, and so I'm able to attack a little bit better through a Curse Totem than they can. I can play an aggressive strat. I also play Blood Moons, and so I felt like bringing in Blood Moons and Curse Totem against Yogg would definitely help the matchup. But I definitely felt like there was a hole in my sideboard for Zoo, and the Curse Totems definitely made certain matchups a lot more difficult because I had two dead cards because I never played Yawgmoth in the tournament. I had two dead matchups the entire time. Dead cards in the matchup the entire time. And that was fine. My opponent turned 2's Wall of Roots after thinking for a little while and mites my Vial. This is an amazing play for them. It basically cuts my mana in half. They gain 2 going to 22. And I go to my turn. I have upkeep and draw. I turn 3 a Blood Moon, which is one of, in the main, 4 matchups specifically like this. For Yogg, for Amulet, where normally you just don't have an answer. And my opponent already used their might to answer my Vial. And so this is best possible scenario for me. My opponent is staring at triple green mana and 1 black source. And so they are not able to cast their Yogg. Meanwhile, I have so many goblins. Matron cast a Skirk. He said he's thinking about the Skirk. I say that's totally fine. Skirk is on the stack. I read here that he has a Grist, or a Cord for a Grist. That, or he could grab another Might. He's holding with the Matron on the stack. Matron resolves, trigger, resolves, trigger targets. This is going to be a Ringleader, I believe. Ringleader because we're locking the game with Blood Moon. It's just the best card. We're just going to the late game anyways, so there's no reason not to. Now, we show our opponent the Ringleader, and we pass the turn. End of turn, our opponent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Cord X3. Roots has this cool interaction where you can convoke it and then use the mana to pay for the cost. Or the other way around, one of the two ways. You're able to do some very cool things with Wall of Roots and Convoke. Double checking something real quick. Perfect. Yep, it is a Grist. The aforementioned Hunger Tide. Grist is a very, very good card in this matchup, especially if they play Cauldron, because then they're able to make their insects copies of Grist. Like if they have a Grist in the graveyard and a Cauldron, they're able to, if they play another Grist, uptick the Grist, then you're able to put the abilities of the Grist in the graveyard, because it's a creature, when you exile with Soul Cauldron, onto the insects, and then you're able to uptick the insects to make more insects, which then you're able to continuously make into Planeswalkers, and I've definitely lost matches to 1/1 Grists. Definitely. Our opponent is thinking, I believe this is Jeremy. Jeremy's a very good pilot. One of the people who I definitely, if I'm going to lose, I would prefer to do it to someone who is skilled at what they're doing. The Wall of Roots pull in heavy lifting here for the double green for the Eldritch Evolution. Eldritch Evolution lets them get Yawgmoth into play. I consider conceding now because they're able to shoot down my board. Then I untap, draw, cast a Ringleader. Trigger 1, 2, 3, 4. I draw 4 goblins. 4 mana, 2/2 with haste that says draw 4 cards. Sometimes. Worth it. Hey, they play Mind Goblin. Come on. Can't be that bad. Now, I'm trying to figure out if attacks are worth it. He has a 2/4. And if I attack with my guys, he can shoot my lord, and then all my dudes become small, and he eats my stuff. So I elect, I believe, to pass. Yes. Because I am taking the aggressive route here. Or the grindy route. I play red spells, he does not. He'll be able to cast 1 or 2 spells a turn for a couple more turns, and then eventually the logic is that eventually he will succumb, but he keeps drawing these chords, and chord is just such a good card in this matchup, allowing him to get another halfling, more mana, and in the future another card when he sacks it to Yawgmoth. And so this is definitely not looking good, even though we had the main deck Blood Moon to help us out. For mana, Shieldred, and this is when the game starts to go downhill very fast, I believe. A Young Wolf, and I am prepared to start conceding now. My opponent has enough creatures to just completely kill my board and draw cards, and yep, that's the game. It's just a really hard matchup because they're able to mini disfigure all of your creatures. Pestilence. They're able to pestilence all your creatures. And so at playing 1/1s is really not where you want to be. So in this match, or this game, we're trying to be the aggressor. We're focused on trying to go as fast as possible and slamming cards. We boarded in another Blood Moon, play the Snoop on 2. If we have the opportunity to combo, we will combo. If we don't, then we're totally fine with just doing the same thing we did last game, but being on the play and hoping that helps us get through it. I do definitely feel like we should play more munitions experts for this matchup. That was something I had some people telling me in the car when I was talking to them. And I agree. I think that maybe the one Blood Moon in the main could be a munitions expert, and it would just be better. We could also play a munitions expert on the side. It's hard though. I think I would rather cut the Blood Moon from the main and play a second munitions expert so that I'm able to have more interaction versus the creature decks that I'm supposed to be favored against. And then the board is just completely for unfair matchups. Top card is a Feed the Swarm, which is something that I cut for Curse Totem. My logic being that Feed the Swarm only deals with one thing. Curse Totem answers most of Yawgmoth. However, Feed the Swarm was also my hate for Scion, Leyline, Binding. It also kills Urza Saga. You can just go turn 2, Urza Saga kill the Urza Saga with your Feed the Swarm. Randomly really good. And so I think I'm going to put my Feed the Swarms back in the sideboard just to have an answer versus Domain. No, I go Blood Moon. Attack. No blocks. Vial and Lord. 3 damage. Boom. Come on. His life total is not on the screen anyways. Now, my opponent has a really, really interesting line. Rex Sage, either the Blood Moon or the Vial. They go for the Vial so that we're on the same page and they have 2 basics. They know that I can't cast that Feed the Swarm now, so it's a dead card that I drew. No. I have a Blood Moon. See? I'm a dummy sometimes. He's an intelligent man. He says, I blew up your Vial because I wanted that to not happen. And so now I stare at him and I say, ah, yes, you are a smart man. Another Wall of Roots. At this point, he's doing a great job of just grinding, and he has the option to blow up the Might, but I believe he's going to wait until the end of my turn to just be able to untap, cast Yawgmoth, and win. A lot of lands, but, lands allow you to cast spells, so I'm happy. I can cast this Krenko now. Crinkle's really good here. Crinkle allows us to stabilize, go wide. It's usually the way that we win through a Blood Moon. It's very difficult, though. The main way that you're able to win the game is by stealing it on turn 3 with Harbinger. And if that doesn't work, then you have to do this very long, convoluted thing of trying to attack with your 1/1s for wins, which in a format like Modern usually does not go well. But we don't play the deck because there was a bunch of 1/1s and 2/2s. We play the deck because we enjoy stealing wins on turn 3. Now, my opponent's going to chord for a Strangleroot Geist so that they have another effective attacker, and then untap, blow up the Might, kill the Blood Moon. Eldritch the Strangleroot Geist. Get the Yawgmoth. Strangleroot comes back with a counter. Now, I believe that I should be dead here. I have 2 cards in hand, I believe. No, it's just 1. Just to feed the Swarm. My opponent does not need to blow up this Blood Moon. So he says, I'm going to do this 4 times. I'm going to lose 4 life, draw 4 cards. And then he says, I'm going to do this another couple times. I'm going to sack 1, 2, 3. 3 dudes. Kill 1, 2, 3 cards. They see the top card, they know it's a matron. Now he draws more cards. And this is where I believe I'm wrong. Because he sacks the dude to kill my Krenko. But you can go back and forth and draw infinite cards, or as many cards as you can with your life total. However, you can't always kill your opponent's board. So right there, he was able to go sack the Might, sack 2 other cards. I believe that I just was dumb in this situation because I believe that there's a misplay here, but it was not something that I was able to understand in the moment. After the match, I do remember talking to him about it and being like, how did you kill all my stuff? Because usually Yawgmoth is able to kill all your stuff. They have enough creatures so they can just kill your entire board. Here, however, I do think that there was some misplay, some tomfoolery afoot. But Jeremy didn't do it on purpose. Jeremy's a great guy. It comes down to Yawgmoth being an incredibly difficult deck to pilot, and there not being a lot of obvious lines or interactions. So I'm asking if it exiles. That was what that was. Feed the Swarm still in the stack, targeting the Yawgmoth. He is thinking if he wants to draw some cards. And then I'm thinking, as I look at his graveyard, that there should be more creatures in the graveyard. He did a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He negged a total of 6 creatures. He was able to put -1 counters on 6 total creatures, and he sacked 1 creature total. So now I'm like, wait a second. I believe that I've messed up, and so I'm asking questions. I'm like, you can draw cards, but to kill my board, I think you need another card. You need like a Hapatra. And so I'm just trying to go back. I'm just like, wait, let me see how much it takes for you to kill my board. So you have the Might, sack the Might, kill my Lord, trigger. You have to sack 2 other dudes to kill my Snoop, and 3 other dudes to kill my Krenko. And so I believe my opponent would be able to do what they did, but they would have to sack their entire board and they would have nothing left. Out of shame, I apologize to my opponent because I missed it, and it's my fault because I just let it happen. I was like, yeah, you're the Yawgmoth player. It's always busted and unfair. So it was bad on me to let that happen, but there's not much we can do about it in the moment now. I've realized that I messed up and that he shouldn't have been able to do the thing that he did. He drew a bunch of cards and I should have stopped him, but it's the game now, and this is just where we are. I don't mind it. At this point, I'm clarifying for my understanding in the future. Next time against Yawgmoth, I want to know how they are able to kill my board. And I believe now, looking in hindsight, that he needs either a Hipatra or he needs a Blood Artist, so he's able to draw infinite cards and dome me for infinite life. Both of those cards are not in the field, so I believe he's able to value line, but he's not able to go infinite and kill me. He does have the Apatra in his hand, so he's able to draw until he hits something that allows him to Chord or Eldritch Evolution for another Hipatra and then put it into play. So technically, he would be able, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he would be able to draw until he hits Chord. So this game is over. I'm just trying to confirm for my brain what happened. And so, yeah, we revert back to where we were. I just want to see the sequencing to see how he goes about doing it. So he's going to sack, put the one back, put the one back. So I'm saying you sacrifice the young wolf to kill my dude. You have to kill my dude, you have to not target that. So this one came back with a counter. I believe he's saying, I'm going to sack both my dudes. I'm going to sack this dude to kill the Snoop. I'm going to sack all 3 of these dudes to kill your thing. And then I play Hipatra. He says I'm still able to win because I have this Hipatra and this dude, and I'm able to draw until I hit a chord, so I can chord it into play. Even if you were to have an answer for my Yawgmoth, I have a second Yawgmoth. He says this game is over even if I misplayed, and I agree with him because, you know, just the way that it would have played out, he did draw his deck. He would have been able to chord for Hipatra. He would have killed me, and so the top card for me is a land. We play an extra game just out of fun because I want to practice. And this is a really good matchup. I think that this is 2 creature combo decks. We're 2 ships in the night. We're both trying really hard to do creature things in a format of solitudes and fire and ice and leyline binding. And so it's really hard to be able to make a deck that fixes the interaction points, that has answers for the interaction points that others are trying to attack from. Yawgmoth has Chord and Resiliency and backup plans of like Bowmaster for value and Shieldred for value. And then we have just Cavern, Vial, Matron, Ringleader as our backup plan. Ours is better against counter magic. Theirs is better against like other aggro decks like ours. They just have random points of interaction. They're able to just randomly kill us just by attacking. Bowmaster is really good. We don't really draw cards, but it does shoot down our lords and stuff, so it's really good. Soul Cauldron's phenomenal. Untap, upkeep. This one, I draw. Land. I'm going to show you a Pashalik Mons. Oh, I can't violent Snoop from Exile. Lame. See, my brain is like, what am I doing? So I'm going to cast the Snoop instead. Top card is a Blood Moon. Give my opponent perfect information, why don't you? Then I'm going to untap. Or I'm going to pass. They're going to untap, upkeep, draw after they exile their dude just to make their thing a little bit bigger. Now I can't block their Bowmaster. They play land, they play Yawgmoth, and the game is over. Not like fundamentally, but the game is basically over. If I go to combo, if I try to do anything, they just sack dudes to kill my stuff. This is a matchup that I need to play more. I need to just jam games against Yawgmoth, because this is a very, very hard matchup for me. If that was a munitions expert, if that Blood Moon was a munitions expert, I would be able to go. I think I'm still one short. But that's an example of where you want to have another. Let's see. And he goes, sure, I already have my Yawgmoth in play. I don't really mind. I have a Might. And so now I turn off all of my black mana. And I do not have the ability to cast the munitions expert anymore in my hand. I decide to pass and hope that my opponent doesn't end step kill my stuff. They do not. They elect to untap, upkeep, and draw. This allows them to have their mana up for anything I do in response while still playing the aggressive role. Because I'm at 14, and so if they're able to just attack, see, I go down to 10. Or 13 because I go to 10. End of turn, I activate Vial, put a Pashlik Mons into play. Yeah. I say, I can shoot stuff when stuff dies. Is that okay, Dad? And he goes, I think in response, no, you're good. And then he passes. And then I untap, upkeep, goes to 4. Top card is another Vial. Untap. Okay. Land. Now, we have the option to go Ringleader. We don't violet it in because we want to instant speed use it. But it doesn't really matter much because now we're able to go. We would be able to go swing for the fence's attack, but we can't. We blind flip Kiki Jiki on top. And put a Sling Gang into play. I have a trigger. So I have 2 different attack points now. I can tap my Snoop to make infinite 2/2s that'll be tapped. And then I can, at the end step, they die, and then Pashlik Mons kills him. Now, if I tap my Snoop to make a hasty copy, he has to sack 2 guys to try to kill my Snoop. And in response, I can go sack a token, drain for 2, sack a token, drain for 2, sack a Ringleader, drain for 2, sack a Snoop, drain for 2. I have him at 8 if I don't even attack. And so I believe I elect to pass. He untaps, he draws. He passes. I untap. He goes, end step. Activate Snoop, target Snoop. If that's okay, I'll make infinite tapped dudes. And you sack a Yawgmoth to draw a card. Put a neg counter on Snoop. Sack an Allmaster. Put a neg counter on Snoop. If I sack the Snoop, do you get to draw the card? I'm asking. I don't know. I'm asking. Is it a part of the effect? Because if I sack the Snoop, then you don't get to draw the card, is what I'm asking. So I'm going to sack the Snoop. I'll drain gain. I go up to 11. Pashlik Mons will do you. So you take a total of 2. And then I'll go to my turn. Untap. Upkeep. Stay at 4. I'll draw. Shock in a land. Go to 9. Kiki Jiki. On the stack. I pass. I believe I have a second Sling Gang in hand, which just makes this math fucking ugly. Because my opponent's going to be like, okay, I'm going to snipe their Sling Gang in response to like them sacking something else. And then I'm going to have a second Sling Gang, and I can copy the Sling Gang with a Kiki-Jiki. And we just like win that game all day. I guess we could play Pithing Needle. I should be at 9 here. Channels of Beseiju plays a Grist. Channels of Beseiju thinks about a Grist. Channels of Beseiju. Discard a card, Proliferate. In response, I'll activate Vial. I'll put a Sling Gang into play. Sling Gang can give me 2 more guys. 5, it's fine. In response, I'll activate Kiki-Jiki. I'll try to target my Sling Gang. Each 1/1 sacks for 2 damage right now without attacking. Drain 2. So now that I have all these tokens, I can go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 20, 22, 23 damage right now. And he's going to go, I'm going to kill your thing in response. And I'm going to go, okay, in response to you trying to kill my Pashtag Mons, I'm going to sack another dude, put another trigger on the stack. And then you're going to try to kill my dude. I'm going to put another trigger on the stack. And because of the way that's going to line up, I believe that he's at 15. I just barely am able to, I give him exactsies, I believe. So we're going to see this. Sack. So we're going to go, sorry, we're going to go back because I was talking. Now, I go sack a token, trigger on the stack, target, target. So I have to sack my token, declare a target with the Sling Gang, and then declare a target with the Pashtag Mons trigger once it dies. Those 2 targets are on the stack now. So I have 2 damage on the stack. My opponent has the option to respond. They do not. I display that I have 23 damage, and they have 3 points of interaction. They can sack their Young Wolf and their Orcish Bowmasters. And if they have another Orcish Bowmasters, they can flash in 2 more tokens, and they can kill a total of 2 creatures. So they try to kill my Pashtag Mons once, and my Pashtag Mons again. But then in response, as I lay it out, I'm able to deal, I believe, 15. It's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 if they try to kill my Pashtag Mons. And we get the fist bumps. That's how we win against Yawgmoth. They just don't do Yawgmoth things. But this has been awesome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay hydrated and good vibes. Boom.